Welcome back. In part 1, we talked about the who. Now we need to talk about the how, but not the how you've heard before. Look, most people treat visualization like a daydream. They close their eyes and imagine the Ferrari, the beach house, or the six-pack abs. They vibe with the universe and wait for a check to appear in the mail. Here's the thing. That kind of visualization can actually make you less likely to succeed. Here's what most people don't realize. When you only visualize the end result, your brain releases dopamine as if you've already achieved it. You get the reward without the work. Your brain thinks, cool, we made it. And then it shuts off your drive. You become a dreamer who never does anything. Brian Keane teaches a different way. It's called process visualization. You don't just visualize the trophy, you visualize the 5 a.m. alarm. You visualize yourself saying no to the junk food. You visualize yourself sitting at the desk when you're tired and bored. This is where it gets really interesting. You have to visualize the struggle and see yourself winning that struggle. That's how you rewire the autopilot to handle real life, not a fantasy. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake people make when trying to change their finances or their health. Intensity. We've been conditioned to think that big results require big, heroic efforts. I'm going to work 16 hours a day. I'm going to fast for 48 hours. Look, intensity is easy. Anyone can be intense for a day or a week. But intensity doesn't build wealth. Consistency does. Think about a drop of water hitting a rock. If you dump a bucket of water on a rock once, nothing happens. But if you let a single drop fall every day for 10 years, you'll drill a hole right through it. Keane argues that your life is just a collection of your average days. If your average day involves 30 minutes of learning and 10 minutes of saving, you will eventually be wealthy. Now, you might be thinking, but 30 minutes isn't enough to change my life. Actually, let's look at the math, the 1% rule. If you get just 1% better every day through compounding, you are 37 times better by the end of a year. The problem is that 1% improvement is invisible. You don't see the wealth growing on day 14, so you quit. You break the chain. Keane's advice? Focus on the system, not the goal. Don't focus on making $1 million. Focus on being the person who never misses a day of progress. Let's get real for a second. You are going to fail. You're going to mess up your budget. You're going to skip a workout. You're going to have a day where the old you takes the wheel. Most people see failure as a sign that they should stop. They think, I guess I'm just not cut out for this. This is where Keane gets authoritative. He says, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a prerequisite for it. In the tech world, they have a phrase, fail fast and iterate. Think of failure like a GPS. If you take a wrong turn, the GPS doesn't scream, you idiot, you're a failure, give up. No, it says recalculating. Every time you fail, it's just data. It's your brain showing you where the old wiring is still active. Instead of beating yourself up, which just creates more stress and sends you back to your comfort habits, ask yourself, what triggered that? What thought led to that action? This is where it gets really interesting. Once you stop fearing failure, you become dangerous. Because the person who is willing to fail 100 times to find the one thing that works will always beat the person who is afraid to try once. You can have the strongest mindset in the world, but if you're a flower trying to grow in a dark closet, you're going to wilt. Here's what most people don't realize. Your environment is your subconscious's operating system. If your friends are all complaining about being broke, you will stay broke. Not because they are bad people, but because your social autopilot wants to fit in. Brian Keane talks about the law of association. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, you might be thinking, but I love my friends. I can't just ditch them. You don't have to ditch them, but you have to audit the time you give them. If you want to rewire your mindset, you need to pollute your brain with the thoughts of people who are where you want to be. Listen to the podcasts, read the books, watch the videos like this one. Create a digital inner circle. Eventually, the way successful people think will start to feel normal to you. And when your normal changes, your life changes. Okay, let's get into some immediate action. How do we actually start these habits when we feel zero motivation? Keane suggests using the 2-minute rule. If you want to start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Want to start reading? Read 1 page. Want to start a business? Spend 2 minutes brainstorming a name? Want to save money? Move $2 into a savings account. The point isn't the work. The point is mastering the art of showing up. You have to prove to your brain that you are the type of person who does these things. Once the showing up becomes part of your identity, then you can worry about the intensity. But you can't improve a habit that doesn't exist. The final mindset shift. Emotional intelligence. You. As we wrap this up, there's one final thing Keane emphasizes. Managing your state. We often wait to feel motivated before we act. I'll start when I feel like it. Look, professionals don't wait for motivation. Professionals rely on discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. But here's the secret. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. If you wait for the feeling, you're a slave to your emotions. If you act first, the feeling eventually follows. Here's the final truth. You can watch 100 videos like this. You can read Brian Keane's book 10 times, but none of it matters if you don't take the first step today. Rewiring your mindset is painful. It's uncomfortable. It requires you to kill off the version of yourself that you've been comfortable with for years. But on the other side of that discomfort, that's where the life you actually want is waiting. The version of you that doesn't stress about bills. The version of you that walks into a room with genuine confidence. The version of you that is in total control of their time. That person is already inside you. They are just buried under old wiring. Right now, I want you to pick one 2-minute habit. Just one. And you are going to do it every single day for the next 30 days. No excuses. No negotiations. If you're in, I want you to comment, "The change starts now," below. Let's hold each other accountable. If you missed part 1, go watch it now. If you're ready to grow, subscribe and hit the bell. Stop living on autopilot. Take the wheel. I'll see you in the next one.